The carving knife was halfway through the turkey, suspended in my father's hand as a scene paused on a screen. The steam from the sweet potatoes, the clink of ice in my uncle's glass, the faint Macy's parade music from the other room. It all went silent for me the moment my sister, Annabelle, flashed that razor-thin smile and made her announcement. It wasn't a request. It wasn't a discussion. It was a coronation, delivered with all the subtlety of a public execution. "Mom and Dad are signing the house over to me," she said, her voice dripping with faux sympathy. "You get nothing, Liam. It's just the practical thing to do." That Thanksgiving, the family feast wasn't just about the turkey being carved. It was about the whole experience. It was about our past, our future, and a betrayal served cold on my mother's good china. The scent of roasting turkey and pumpkin pie usually wrapped our family home in a blanket of nostalgic comfort. This year, it smelled like a lie. I'd brought my famous bourbon maple sweet potatoes, the ones Dad always pretended to grumble about but secretly devoured. Annabelle, of course, brought a store-bought pecan pie, still in its plastic clamshell, which Mom dutifully fussed over as if it were a culinary masterpiece. We were all in our usual places. Dad at the head, Mom at the foot, my wife, Chloe, beside me, her hand finding mine under the table in a silent show of solidarity. Annabelle held court from the middle, her husband, Greg, a silent, nodding accessory beside her. Her two sons, already glued to their tablets, were the only ones oblivious to the tension that had been thickening since we arrived. The meal began with the usual stilted pleasantries: work, the weather, the kids' school. Annabelle steered every topic back to herself. Her promotion, Greg's new Mercedes lease, the exhausting process of choosing a private tennis coach for the boys. Chloe squeezed my hand tighter. Then, as Dad stood to carve the bird, a ritual he performed with solemn focus, Annabelle cleared her throat. It was a sound that demanded an audience. "Now that we're all here," she said, eyes on no one, "Mom and Dad have news about the house, their legacy." Dad's knife hovered. Mom looked down at her napkin, folding it meticulously. "It's a burden, really," Annabelle sighed. "With you living across the state and the boys needing space, it just makes sense. To avoid confusion later, the house is being signed over to me. We've spoken to the lawyer. You get nothing, Liam. It's practical." The silence that followed was absolute, broken only by the tinny sound of cartoon violence from my nephew's tablets. I felt Chloe go rigid beside me. The blood roared in my ears. I looked at my father, whose face was ashen, his eyes fixed on the uncut turkey. I looked at my mother, who finally met my gaze, her eyes shiny with unshed tears and something else: guilt. "Practical?" I finally managed, my voice sounding strange to my own ears. "This house has been in the family for 50 years. Grandma planted that oak tree out front. I helped Dad reshingle the roof. You're talking about it like it's a piece of furniture you're claiming." "Don't be dramatic, Liam," Annabelle said, waving a hand. "You have your life. You're charming little fixer-upper." She said it like it was a hovel. "This place needs someone who can maintain its value, invest in it, not just see it as a sentimental relic. And you decided this, for everyone." Chloe's voice was quiet but clear, a steel thread in the stifling air. "It was a family decision," my mother whispered, not looking at us. "A family decision?" I repeated, a bitter laugh escaping. "Chloe and I are apparently not part of that family." "It's not like that, son," my father said, finally setting the knife down. He looked old, defeated. "Annabelle's here. She can manage the upkeep. We didn't want you to feel obligated." "Obligated? To what? To you, my parents?" I pushed my chair back, the legs screeching against the hardwood floor. "You're giving our family home to her because she's here. Because she's been whispering in your ears for years about how irresponsible I am. While I've been paying your property taxes online for the last 3 years, when Dad's computer confused him." Annabelle's smile faltered for a split second. "That's a private financial matter." "Nothing is private now, is it?" I said, standing. Chloe stood with me. "You just made the most public declaration possible. You get the house. I get nothing." Message received, loud and clear. I walked out of that dining room, away from the tableau of my shattered family, Chloe right behind me. We didn't take the sweet potatoes. We didn't say goodbye. As I backed our sensible sedan out of the driveway, I saw Annabelle already at the dining room window, as if surveying her new domain. The 3-hour drive home was a silent, furious blur. Chloe finally spoke when our city's skyline emerged in the distance. "We need to know why," she said, her practical, legal mind cutting through the emotional fog. Not her version, the real version. "There's something else going on." She was right. The cold, transactional cruelty of it didn't align with my parents, even at their most manipulated. My father was a soft-hearted retired engineer, my mother a former librarian who saved every card we ever gave her. They were passive, yes, easily swayed by Annabelle's forcefulness, certainly. But this felt like a legal, financial maneuver, not just a favored child's grab for assets. Over the next week, we kept our distance. My calls to my parents went to voicemail. Annabelle sent a single text, "Don't make this harder on them, it's done." It was Chloe who dug up the clue. She'd remembered my dad mentioning a new financial advisor. Annabelle had connected them with a year ago. A guy named Robert Vance from some boutique firm called Vance and Sperry Wealth Management. A few hours of deep dive internet searching and cross-referencing on professional networks told a story. Robert Vance had a trail of complaints settled out of court and had been fired from 2 major brokerages for aggressive, unsuitable investment strategies. His current firm was a shell. More damningly, Chloe found a property record. 6 months ago, Annabelle and Greg had taken out a massive second mortgage on their own already over-leveraged McMansion. "She's broke," Chloe said, pointing at the screen. "They're swimming in debt. That Merced's lease, probably up to its hubcaps in payments. This isn't about her getting a house. It's about her getting an asset, one she can immediately borrow against." The puzzle pieces clicked into place with a sickening finality. Annabelle wasn't securing a home for her family. She was securing a lifeline for her failing lifestyle. She'd likely sold our parents on some story about protecting the house from Medicaid recovery if they needed long-term care, or simplifying the estate, all while positioning herself as the responsible caretaker. And she'd probably promised them they could live there forever, blissfully unaware she'd be putting a lien on it the second the ink was dry. But she'd made one fatal mistake. She declared war at a Thanksgiving dinner in front of witnesses. And she'd underestimated my quiet wife, who was now a lawyer with a cause. We didn't confront Annabelle. Instead, Chloe drafted a calm, precise letter to my parents, sent via certified mail. It wasn't emotional. It laid out in clear terms what we believed was happening. It mentioned Robert Vance by name, included the public records of Annabelle's financial distress, and cited the legal concept of undue influence. It concluded by saying that while they were free to do as they wished with their property, if they were acting under pressure or misinformation, we were there to help them. We offered to meet with them and a neutral lawyer of their choosing to review the proposed transfer. The silence that followed was different. It was the silence of a pending storm. A week later, my father called. His voice was rough, tired. "Can you come down? Just you, please." I went alone. The house felt different, like a museum after hours. My mother's eyes were red-rimmed. Dad led me to his study, the room smelling of old paper and wood polish. "The letter," he began, then stopped. He looked out the window at the oak tree. "Is it true? About Annabelle's money? The property records are public, Dad. She's in deep." He put his head in his hands. "She said you were jealous, that you'd try to turn us against her. She said this was the only way to keep the house safe, to keep us secure. That Vance guy had some complicated trust set up. It all sounded so smart. It's designed to sound smart so you don't ask questions," I said gently, the anger replaced by a profound sadness. "Dad, if you sign the house over to her, it's hers. She can sell it, borrow against it, or lose it. You have no legal say. If her creditors come calling, this house is their collateral." The dam broke then. He confessed everything. The constant pressure from Annabelle, the fear of being a burden, and the confusing legal jargon Vance threw around. Mom, who joined us timidly, admitted Annabelle had been talking for years about how I was checked out, while she was the dedicated one. They felt cornered, old, and foolish. "We haven't signed anything yet," my father finally said, a flicker of his old strength returning. "She told us to at Thanksgiving, said it was a done deal to preempt a fight, but the papers are still with the lawyer. Our lawyer, not hers." That was the crack in the wall, the opening. What followed was a quiet, tense campaign. Chloe and I found a reputable elder law attorney, Mrs. Ellis, who agreed to consult with my parents as a neutral third party. We encouraged our parents to call her. We did not attend the meeting. Mrs. Ellis, as we learned later, was a force of nature. In one 2-hour session, she dismantled the predatory trust structure Vance had proposed. She explained, in simple terms, the risks of an outright transfer. She outlined better, safer options. A simple will, a life estate, a properly drafted family trust that would protect both the asset and my parents' right to live there. She also asked my parents one pointed question. If you needed $50,000 for an emergency tomorrow, who would you call, Liam or Annabelle? They didn't need to answer. Their faces said it all. The knowledge that they had an alternative, that they weren't helpless, changed everything. My parents canceled the signing meeting with their original lawyer, who, it turned out, was a golf buddy of Robert Vance. They hired Mrs. Ellis. Annabelle's reaction was volcanic. She showed up at the house screaming about betrayal, about how we had poisoned our parents against her. She called me, spewing venom so vile I had to hold the phone away from my ear. She threatened legal action, claiming a promissory estoppel because she'd planned her future around the house, a laughable claim with no paper trail. But the wind had gone out of her sails. My parents, fortified by Mrs. Ellis and their own rekindled sense of agency, held firm. The house will be handled fairly in our will, through the trust, my father told her, his voice leaving no room for argument. And while we're alive, it's our home. Not yours. It's been a year since that Thanksgiving. My parents still live in the house. Mrs. Ellis set up a solid family trust. The house will pass to both Annabelle and me upon their passing, with a provision that if one wants to buy the other out, they can, or it will be sold and the proceeds split. It's fair. It's clean. Annabelle did not take the high road. She borrowed a huge sum from a different, even shadier source to keep her facade afloat. It collapsed 6 months ago. The Mercedes was repossessed. The McMansion went into foreclosure. She and Greg are now renting a cramped apartment. Their marriage, built on the brittle foundation of status, is reportedly hanging by a thread. She has spoken to our parents only a handful of times, each interaction laced with resentment. The relationship is broken, perhaps beyond repair. Last week, Chloe and I drove down to help my dad winterize the sprinkler system. The air was crisp, the oak tree a blaze of orange and gold. After we finished, Mom brought out mugs of hot cider. We sat on the back porch, the same one I helped Dad build 2 decades ago. "I'm sorry, Liam," my father said, not for the first time, but it felt different this time. Lighter, for that day, for letting it get that far. "I know, Dad." He looked out at the yard. "You know, your sister, she was always reaching for something she thought was just outside her grasp. And she'd knock over everything in the house trying to get to it. We spent so much time trying to calm her down, to give her what she wanted to avoid the tantrum, that we forgot to make sure you were okay." "I'm okay," I said, and I meant it. I had my life, my work, my incredible wife. I had my parents, and our relationship, though scarred, was healing with honesty. "This house," my mother said, patting my hand. "It's just wood and nails and memories. The real inheritance was never going to be this place. It was supposed to be how we treated each other. We failed you on that. But maybe we can start leaving you a better one now." We drank our cider in a comfortable silence, watching the leaves fall. The house stood around us, solid and familiar. It wasn't a prize to be won anymore. It was just a home. And for the first time in a long time, I felt like I was still welcome in it. The battle for the inheritance had ended not with a legal victory, but with a quieter, more profound understanding. Annabelle had wanted the symbol, the deed, the address, the bragging rights. In her ruthless pursuit, she'd lost everything else: her dignity, her financial stability, and her family. What I inherited was harder to put on paper, but infinitely more valuable. The truth, a repaired bond with my parents, and the unwavering knowledge that my home was with the family I'd built, not just the one I was born into. And sometimes, getting nothing of what you were promised is exactly what you need to see everything you truly have. And that's the story of the Thanksgiving declaration that backfired spectacularly. Remember, family dynamics and money are a volatile mix. If this story hit a nerve, or if you've ever faced a similar situation, let me know in the comments below. What would you have done in Liam's place? Was there any way this could have ended peacefully? If you enjoyed this deep dive into family conflict and hidden motives, be sure to like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next story, where we explore the secrets buried in a last will and testament that no one saw coming. Thanks for watching, and remember, sometimes the most valuable inheritances aren't found in a will, but in the truth you fight to uncover.